Back in September 2020, we sold our house in the UK, then moved to Normandy in France, where we bought an ancient French farmhouse with various outbuildings, including an old barn, a small cottage with 2 woodlands, and 3.5 acres of pastured land in a beautiful national park area. Follow us on our journey as Budo and I renovate the farmhouse, manage our land, and take on many projects for you to enjoy. Let the fun begin. Bonjour everyone, hope you've had a good week.
Hello there, welcome to Caravan Corner.
We are just going to have a little chat to let you know what we are up to in this week's video. I've been raking out the front of the farmhouse, the top where you didn't manage to
At the front, yeah.
At the front, either side of the windows, and going over to the middle part of the house. I've started pointing that as well, and I'm just waiting for Budo to get his magic tool out and rake all the other
magic tool. Anyway, yeah,
electric tool.
It's a little grinder with a big fat wheel on it that goes and cuts into the mortar lines. You know.
Yeah, because I've started
or
raking.
Pointing lines.
I've started raking on the other side, but you need that bigger grinder, don't you, to do that? And you've been doing.
I've been doing some quite interesting stuff. It's called hot liming or quick lime, using quick lime, which is a lime that's reactive to water, and it's quite dangerous. Anyway, I've been doing that, plastering the front of the bedroom on the wall, just doing the finishing plaster. So you'll see a little bit of that, and a little wander up on the just around the corner. I wanted to show this beautiful cherry tree. Cherry tree, right? It's fantastic. Anyway, we'll talk about that after.
Yeah, that's very high, isn't it? The cherry tree.
Cherry is too high for us to get to it, so we need a cherry picker to get to the cherry tree.
Well, I've got a little
beautiful cherries like that. So sweet.
I've got a little confession to make. When I take the dogs on the field, I actually stood up on the back of the tractor, obviously not when it's going, and then I've stood on the top of the tractor and pulled some of the branches. So I have been nicking the cherries, but they're absolutely beautiful. Wonderful. We just need a cherry.
It's funny this time of the year. You know, you go around your land and you start seeing what goes into fruit and what's there. We didn't realise were there, so we're finding this. I mean, the cherry tree is probably close on 100 years old, I would say, and maybe even more. I don't know how long they live, a cherry, these French ones anyway, and you know, lovely. At the end of its life it's still a good thing because it's got beautiful wood for planking and that, so that's something else. But
in the future,
the future,
and also in next week's video you are going to have an exclusive tour of our cottage. This is obviously, as you know, is our main house, is the farmhouse.
This one here is the farmhouse.
Yes, but when we purchased this property, also we got a cottage with a woodland over the road. So we're going to give you an exclusive tour of the cottage, which is probably 2-minute walk from here, because we have some exciting
that's
news.
2 minutes. It depends which way you walk. If you walk on the roadside, it's a couple of minutes, but if you cut across our land and through our woodland, it's the back door, so that it's connected to the woodland. And what we're going to do is we're going to renovate that, because it is a renovation project. It's over 3 floors, it's mid-terraced in 2 other cottages, so we've got French neighbours either side. One's derelict and he doesn't bother with it, and the other one is I think is a lady comes from Paris, isn't she, or somewhere,
it is,
and she uses holidays here 3 or 4 times a year.
She's doing it up as well, isn't she?
She's doing hers up as well as a renovation, but hers is a long way ahead of that.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're going to do the same. So what we've decided and talked about is we are loaded up with work. We're working constantly, okay, but we want to cut away from this as well. We're doing this, I mean, we'll keep doing this job, but we want to cut a couple of days away, and we're going to move it over to
doing the cottage.
So we're going to spend every week 2 days on the cottage, so we get progression there, and then it slows down the progression here, but we are nearly to a level where we'll be moving in here anyway, so won't be so under pressure. And remember, we've looked at this project and we knew it's going to be 2, 3, even 4 years of doing work, which gives
this
you
is
lots
the plan,
of
isn't it?
It's the
this
plan.
Is our plan,
and it gives you guys as YouTube watchers to watch our journey and follow us along, and in between all the other little things that happen where we go out to places, do things, evenings out, as well as working on the land and building this what would you call it, enterprise, if you like, here with the lavenders and the bees and all the other things,
vegetables, the flowers, everything. So. And
people coming here eventually to have, we'll be running little schools of classes and that, but that's all later on. But the main point is what we're asking for is we've set up a patrons page, and we're hoping that you guys can follow our journey and be part of the journey, if you like, by becoming patrons and supporting the channel for the work we're putting into it and giving to you guys, as well as what's coming for the future and what you've already got. You've got a backload of videos now, I think around about 40 odd videos to watch.
And a lot of people have been binge watching.
And we're getting messages, people are binge watching and giving, and there's been one particular lady just lately, she's commented on every single video.
We'll say thank you.
Oh, well, go on then,
yeah, we'd like to say a really big thank you to Ivy Savage, because she has just took the time to comment on every video, and
which most of them have, though. But
all
at
of
the times
you.
when
And that's another thing.
out,
we haven't thanked you for quite a while, but don't forget to share, like, and subscribe.
Yeah,
it's really important.
That's what we are. We're building slowly. We're not, we're not going to get. I mean, we were nearly on 5,000 subscribers, which is a milestone we was really working for. But we're not going to be as recognised as bigger like chateau YouTubers and things like that, because people obviously love the chateaus and they love to see what's the architecture of a chateau, and that draws them into it. But we're not that. We're just a humble farmhouse and a cottage.
I wouldn't say humble, because what we're doing, I think personally, is more realistic for someone to change their lifestyle wherever they're coming from around the world and buy a farmhouse and be able to do up. It is beautiful to own a chateau, but I always think unless you're financially well off, there has to be a business plan. Does it?
True, I mean, we're having a business plan as well.
But we're going to have a beautiful home.
But what our plan is to get here 3 or 4 years finished, and then we ain't going to have to be renovating no more. We can love and enjoy France and immerse ourselves in the culture and enjoy the way of life here, because we see it all the time, every day. We live in a really, really beautiful area. We're in it's the equivalent of the Cotswolds in England, I suppose. Hilly, foresty, beautiful
national park.
It's like a national. Well, it is a national park. We are a national park. But it's just so beautiful, and we want to get out there and grasp hold of that and enjoy it as well.
So this hard graft now is going to pay off, isn't it, for us, definitely.
Going off piece there a little bit so the cottage will be running like this every week. Me and Tracy will spend 2 days a week working on the cottage. Call it the cottage. Sorry.
It is the cottage.
And we'll work on the cottage. So we're bringing that through. We'll give exclusive bits to our patrons, behind the scenes stuff, and more like thank yous and your name's up on the screen when you become a patron and things like that, and all the general stuff as a patron.
Zoom calls. We can have Zoom calls with our patrons.
Private call. We'll have private Q&As and all that as well with you guys, and you can ask us questions, and we'll give you information, and as well. But we will give it to all our YouTubers. The cottage. It won't just be exclusive for patrons, but they won't get as much as the patrons get, and that's only fair. But we'll see how it goes. We're not expecting nothing big at the beginning. We might get 1, 2, 3 patrons in the beginning and slowly build from there. But
you've got to start at the
beginning. It's just giving you guys the reality of what we're really going for, what we're trying to achieve here, and what we're trying to give to you guys. Because obviously we put the time in, the effort,
definitely
6-7 hours every week,
showing what you're doing,
what we're doing, slowing down, stopping, doing the filming, sitting here doing this, or doing the editing and all the other things and uploading. So they do take time, and I feel for every YouTuber has to go through that process, because it is a part of it.
Because even though you're doing your renovation, your everyday life has to include your filming. So you've got to have enough footage filmed, which you're doing jobs all the time, haven't you? But it puts that little bit of added pressure on, doesn't it? We must film this, we must have our video done by this day.
We want them to see this because they would enjoy that. So we try, and sometimes we've gone ahead and done jobs and we go, oh sod it, I wish we would have filmed that, because I'm sure they would have enjoyed that. And generally consensus hearing from you guys is the ones that are following us anyway, they really enjoy what we're doing. So listen, I know we're talking again in this caravan con. We've got to stop because the videos get too long.
I'll be making dinner soon.
Anyway, we're going to say goodbye for now. Come next week, follow us, come and watch the exclusive tour of the cottage. And it won't be as long a video. We might have more chatting in the caravan corner than we do.
We can chat while we're walking around. But
anyway,
when will that probably be out? Will that be
from next Friday? Friday to Saturday next week. We're always going to be out. Try to aim for a Friday or a Saturday and we'll be out for you.
Lovely. And in the future, just quickly, we are definitely going to be doing a Q&A as well, because we are getting asked now.
Q&A, lots of people asking us, so we'll go
so you can get your cup of tea or your glass of wine, your beer, whatever you want, and join us for that.
We'll join that for that, or whether it's the one where they send us the questions and then we'll answer them as we're going through them. Maybe spend an hour talking to you guys, all right? If you can sit there and watch us for an hour.
I'm sure they will.
Anyway, guys, we're going to go.
Au revoir, bon weekend.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Good morning, folks. I just wanted to show you this. Look up in this tree here, Mahusif tree, right? I don't know if you can see them. Just there, all over. They're all over. It's like a Christmas tree, right? It's full of cherries, big cherries. Just coming ripe now. They started redding off about a couple of days ago, but they're really going red now. And I had a handful of them. Well, me and Tracy did, and they were beautiful, sweet and juicy as well. They weren't like a dry cherry, nice and sweet and juicy. But look, can you see that, guys? Beautiful tree. Last year gave no cherries. This year, full of them. There's only one problem. We need a cherry picker. Literally need a cherry picker to get them down. But that's a shame, really. But I wonder if any of you know what type of cherry tree that is. So they don't go all completely bright red. They've got like a little blush of yellow in them as well. But look at it. I don't know if you see that all over. Just going to show you what I've been up to today. There's a little picture of the windows there. That's from the inside. So, been putting up some stud work. There's not a reason to put it up. Well, a main reason. The reason is we want a nice flat wall so we can put the nice wallpaper on that Tracy's got. I've done another piece in there to match. Saves us trying to repair the walls, plaster them, and they're all undulating and that. So anyway, I've done that. I've also tightened these up a little bit, these bottoms here, by just putting a couple of braces in because they're going to be boxed over. And above the windows, I've put in these boxings. I've boxed them round, put some plasterboard on, trying to get the level down so when I put the coving over the front of them, it's going to be a like coving going over the front all the way through. We get 3 jobs done in one there, because I've put rock wool in them and insulated them at the back with a sealant, because there was a draft coming right at the top of the window. So I've insulated that and sealed it. That's one job. The second job is it allows us to put the coving on, and the third job is it's got timbers underneath, so Tracy can get a good fixing with the curtain rail, so we can have the curtain rails under there nicely when she does her blinds and that. But and then down here, when I panel these in, I'm going to use the same mouldings that I used on the faux chateau wall, if you like, we're calling it. So matching there as well. Not sure if we're having them oak or painted. I think we're going to go with the painted. I've got all the timber now to do the skirting boards in here as well, in this big room. Back here, sorry. So I've got enough to do all the skirting boards, make all them up, because we're going to have skirtings in this room. I wanted to show you this though, look. It's a great little find. These little fleur-de-lis cast iron hooks. We found them in France. There was 7 of them, so we had them 7. But they make great little towel hooks, and the fact that this door opens and stops at them anyway on the handle down here doesn't hit the hooks, which is brilliant. And I thought that was a great little find from Tracy, so that's cool. What have we done here as well? Put a little toothpaste holder up just to keep them in there until we can find something really ornate, but I don't think we will. That'd be good for now, I mean. Anyway, so moving along on these I want to just show you what I'm going to do here as well. So on here I'm going to have a timber coming out about this far all the way down in oak, and then on this face I'm going to have oak architraves that I'm going to make up, which will match exactly the architrave I made for here. I don't know if you remember that back in a few videos back. I'm going to make these in oak this time and put them on that over there. And once we get that done, get the plasterboard on, which I should be doing. If I've got enough time tonight, I'll do it, but if not, it'll be tomorrow. Get the plasterboards on, start making up skirtings. It won't be long and this room will be nearly finished. So anyway, thought we'd give you a little update on that, guys. There's my little chestnut. Hello. Hello, sweetie. Hey, you're just watching Mama. Right. See how Tracy's doing. Doing very well, Trace. Look, it's coming out all right, isn't it?
Oh, it's coming out easy. This is the soft bit though, because I'm using the chisel and the hammer. So I've only got to do this little bit here.
Down to that pointing, yeah. That really, yeah.
To where you finish
stopped,
the pointing. Yep. Then all that bit there, you're going to move the scaffold boards down, aren't you? And going to take that out, use the machine on that, because I tried to with this, but it's too hard. And then we need to get the jet spray out so I can clean all the front faces of the stone. And then I'm going to start pointing. Just go across.
Lovely. That'll be this corner here done.
I need to consolidate.
Like Tracy said, that's the soft stuff. That's the original line where they just push it over the top, push it in.
It looks quite ugly.
It's very ugly, I think. But anyway,
personally.
But remember, it's probably a farmhand or something who's doing it at the time. But this here, someone else has gone and pointed it in with cement. Only this little area here where we're looking at. So I'm going to get the grinder and grind all that out. Move the boards down like Tracy said, and then that'll be another job for Tracy to point.
I don't know, to be honest, there's not really a lot to rake out or point, because once I've pointed this bit, there's only this bit here, isn't it?
Yeah.
And come down and you see here this middle column. So
well, yeah, let me just show them here. So we've got all the along the top here to where I stopped pointing last year, wasn't it? When we first, when we very first came here, it was one of the first jobs we did.
Yeah.
Was this pointing here, because we had no tools, did we? Only had a few tools here. So Tracy will get that all tidied up, consolidate this little column here, because we're going to actually stone in this wall. We're going to cut it in and put stone all the way back up there to give this a nice big load of strength here, because there's 2 beams behind here. But that's a job later on, because of got to get the beams in, haven't we?
We have to get the beams in, don't we? We have to get the beams in before we can put the stone in there.
That's right. And also I can't block that door out until I get me machines out. But I just want to show you over here quickly, Trey, hang on. So this was all done when we came here. This beam here, this wooden beam, goes right through to the other side of the house. That was sticking right out there, wasn't it, Trey? So I cut it all down, chipped it away with a chisel. But
watch yourself on the ladder.
Yep, this bit here we've not done nothing, as you can see. So I'm going to take that wooden rotten beam out, and well, it's not completely rotten, but it's just precariously sitting on the edge there. So I'm going to take all this section out here, put in a granite lintel in here, an old granite lintel. It's going to sit on there, and then we'll change that up there just to carry stone up to it, because the new window I make will hang over, so it won't need a seal as such. It just needs it on the bottom there. But that's looking nice.
Job round the corner, isn't it? That's going to be
that's the big job we've got to come back to. We've got to get all the scaffold back here and rebuild it.
That was actually my first pointing job, wasn't it?
That was Tracy's first pointing job there. This is where she cut her teeth at pointing. as you say. And she got better and better as she went along, which was good. It all looks lovely anyway. A little bit of guidance. I kept her on the right track with this bit here.
I think I've done very well.
You did well. I know you did well. And you're really good at it now. Right, anyway, so let me just have one more little point out here as well, and I'll have to zoom in for you. Is up here. So you can see this gable end. It's really bad. It was like ivy. There was thick ivy when we came here, and we pulled it all off, and it was all in the wall. So we pulled it all out to see where it is, and then at some stage they rendered it. So we're going to chip all this render off as well at some stage, and start pointing all that in, because that is where the water will be coming in, obviously, and then going into the house, which we don't want. But anyway.
I don't mind though. I absolutely love pointing. I think because I'm quite a patient person and I like tedious jobs. So
yeah, pointing is a nice job when you get going and you get thinking. Your mind goes into another world and you just keep pointing away, don't you?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Budo going, you make a cup of tea?
Yeah. Anyway, so look, the window's looking nice, isn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, get a nice colour off that, nice light reflection off of that country. No, what's it called? Cottage cream. Cottage cream.
Yeah.
You get a sort of lovely glow in the evening, don't you?
They haven't seen that finished, have they? They wouldn't have seen it all finished now, the pointing above the window, either side of the window.
Yeah, there's all the pointing. So Tracy's done all that pointing there, which is nice now. That's what you saw last week on when she was on the ladder. That's all finished. Lovely and tight and strong now. She's done the middle section as well. So it really sort of blends in lovely now. It's coming along, isn't it? I think once we get this front part here pointed up, I'm obviously going to start making that window and that window over there as soon as I get the timber.
The end one, aren't you doing shutters?
Yeah, we're going to have shutters on this end one as well. So we're going to have little tiny shutters on there that go over, little dainty ones which will look nice.
But here, once you rake that out and I finish pointing, then the scaffold wall can be moved away, and then you.
Oh yeah, we'll move the scaffold away. But anyway, we'll leave it at that for now. I'll come back later maybe when you've started the pointing.
Yep. Well, I've got to clean it all first.
What do you reckon now? Because you're good at this. Do you think they'll have that all done today?
You know, I was thinking maybe if I have time, I might start on the back as well.
Oh yeah. So if you could get that done today and then get dropped onto the back. No, I'm only joking. Makes light work of it. Put the other nozzle on and it actually strips the bits of cement on the wall if you ain't careful.
Hi there folks, we're going to have a little lesson from Budo on how a lesson from teacher Budo on how to make hot lime mix for a finished plaster, which we'll be doing it eventually in our bedroom, won't we?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing up there. I'll film some of this as well, but this is the sand we've been using all over the house. Okay, for all the pointing jobs and everything, okay?
Okay.
That's been sifted, Right, so it's been sifted and this is what it leaves. If you come here,
Right, let's have a look.
if you can see that, yeah, see all the big stones and that. When you're pointing into the wall, you want all that in there, okay? But when you're lime finish plastering, you don't want it. You want to get rid of it, some of it. So, because you want it as fine as possible, right?
Okay.
Which that's a fine grill. Now, before I go too far, this is called quick lime. Right, this is the quick lime in here. It's a rawer form of lime, come from the stone, okay? And what happens is, if you add water to that, you get a thermal reaction.
Yep.
And it heats up, but it can get very hot. It averages around about 100 degrees, but it can get up to 200 degrees. It will burn you. Also, when it's in that form of powder, if you inhale it, it will burn your lungs as well.
Yeah.
So this is where I will wear a mask, and it's very important, and glasses as well. So if I'm mixing up this is what I'll do, right?
Okay.
Now, this mix for the plaster is 2 of sand, 1 of lime. Okay, this is this lime, and what we're doing is we're slaking, which is the terminology for it, slaking the lime into the mix. But there's a couple of ways of doing it. You can either just use pure lime and make a slaked. So if I add water to it, let it do its thermal reaction, gets hot, and then it cools it down, and then eventually it settles. That is making a putty, a lime putty, and that will be used at any time as long as it's underwater. So say you got it in a bucket, a big bucket. As long as there's about that much water above the top of it, you can leave it in there for 20 years, and then go back to it and still use it. But I'm going to be doing like a semi-dry slaking. So what I'm going to be doing is putting the sand down, putting the lime in the middle, adding water, and then covering it and letting that reaction happen. And the reason for that is the lime bonds to the sand better. It becomes a really sticky mix, and again, it gets sticky and it sticks to everything, and it works better. It's much better. It's a breathable product, and it's used in all on ancient buildings. That's the old way of doing things. The Romans were doing it. I mean, they built there's a big dome in Rome, and this dome is one of the biggest in the world, and it's all been lime rendered, and it's still there today. So
fantastic.
It shows how good this stuff is, right? But the mix, the way I'm doing the mix, is 1 bucket of that, 2 buckets of that sand of that size together. Cover it over, let it heat up, leave it 15-20 minutes, then start to mix it. And then what I'll do is I'll put that into a bucket, and then again, as long as I keep water above it or keep it sealed, it can last for ages. I can put it in the house, put some plastic over it, and it will sit there for a few weeks, and then I can start lime putting. The only thing I'll have to do different is I'll have to add more water to it to make it more fluid while I put it on the walls.
Yeah, because otherwise it will just flop on the floor, won't it?
The most important thing I want to stress to you is most people won't do this, but if you're interested in old buildings and letting old buildings breathe and work properly, this is the product you would use. But it's very dangerous. It's dangerous on your lung, and it can burn you. So as long as you understand that, if you're not sure on that and you want to use limes, other limes, just look at natural hydraulic limes and different types of limes, which are more safer. They've gone beyond this process, but this is the one you have to be a bit careful with, right?
Okay.
So I will get you back in a bit, and I'll show you how I do your mix, and then we'll go from there. Okay, it's not Darth Vader. This is Budo behind here. No, serious note, glasses, mask of some sort so you don't breathe this in. So you can see now, if you look down in the barrel, without getting too near, I've put my sand down, and in the middle I've put this quick lime. Okay, now there's going to be a reaction from this. It might pop and jump, it might not, it might just get hot. Okay, but this is what we call a dry slake. So that means we don't make it like a wet putty and make it all up like that and build it up. It's dry, and you'll see. So what I'll do is I'll add the water. You see the steam coming off it already?
Yeah.
So I keep adding water.
And is that till that hole's filled up, is it?
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it over. Alright. Hear it going.
Yep.
Okay. What I'm trying to do is get it sort of sealed in a way where that water in the middle starts to work, see?
Yeah, whoa.
That's why you need glasses.
Reacts really quick, doesn't it?
It does react quick, and it'll pop and swell. It's a bit dry, so it needs a little bit more. It's like a little volcano, yeah?
Yeah.
Did you see that go up, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. That's why
It's a little bit dry still.
100% wear
But
masks.
just leave that little bit now. If you look, you can see the steam coming off of that.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm sure the viewers will as well.
Yeah. And I can feel the heat of that. That is hot. I wouldn't be able to touch that now. I'd burn myself. All right. Tracy, if you just want to put your hand there and feel, hold your breath for a second. Come down, come down. Wow, yeah.
I could feel that.
That's hot.
That whiff a little bit, not as strong, but it reminded me a little bit of tarmac, believe it or
If you
not.
watch this now, see how it's moving? It's taking on the water and it's expanding.
Yeah, I can see that.
The thermic reaction is happening inside.
It's all falling, isn't it, at the
It's
sides?
trying to work. I really needed some more sand, but I wanted to do this dry mix to show you guys. Okay, that's really hot now.
Right.
Okay.
I'm going to just stand back.
Just going to give it a little bit of a water. The trick is, when you're making this, is not to drown it.
No.
You want it semi-dry. And let it work its magic.
It's like a volcano, just waiting to erupt, isn't it?
Yeah, you guys are looking at that and not thinking of nothing, but that is red hot in there. I would burn myself, seriously. So, I can feel that off the back of the trowel there. It's amazing.
I can see the heat.
Just want to try and keep it intact. What's happening is a chemical reaction happening, and I don't know the full science of it, but what happens is the line becomes sticky. See my trowel, look?
Yep.
Start to stick on my trowel, and it becomes really sticky, and therefore it bonds to the sand properly. And because this is a sharp sand, the reaction sticks to that sharp sand lovely. So when I put this, when I get to use this product to put on the wall, this will be really sticky and it will stick to the wall forever.
Yeah, fantastic. That's what you want though, don't you?
That's why buildings in Rome and Egypt are still standing and they're still stuck together, because this was the way they made the mixes in the old days.
Do you know, it's a true thing that people say, you cannot beat the old ways.
No.
They are more time consuming, but in the long run they last for such a long
They're
time.
a little bit dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, the cement companies came in, they use lime is in cement anyway, but and gypsum or whatever, but the thing is, they came in to make it safer for the people, quicker for the builders to build things. But there wasn't a massive thought process there in terms of, you know, when these buildings, if you've got a building that's built of sand and cement as we know it, when the building wants to give or heave a little bit, because the cement is as hard as the bricks,
Yep.
it doesn't breathe. When you get a crack, you get a crack for all the bricks, everything cracks. With these buildings, when it cracks, it doesn't crack in the brick, it cracks all around the brick, all around the mortar. And with this type of mortar, it's self-healing, it self-repairs itself. So water gets on it again from the rain, it starts to close up, fill up, and it's a cycle. It's a beautiful way. Beautiful way.
Definitely.
And believe me, I believe in 20, 30 years time, this will be coming back into the building industry and people will be using this type of method again.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it just makes sense. Might be a bit slower, but longevity is better.
100%.
Anyway, so what, we've been talking for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
so I've got to wait for this for about another 10 minutes
And then we'll join
and then
you
I'll
back.
get you back again.
Okay. We're back again now with Budo.
Yep. Right, one apology is I started to mix and we thought we was filming, but it was only a few seconds of mixing, right? So that's all I've done is basically add some water in it. You notice I've took my mask off and my goggles. I feel safe enough now because the reaction has happened and it's finished, okay? But if you're new to this sort of thing or you're not so experienced at it, just at least keep your goggles on, all right? Because if it splashes up and hits you in the eye, it's a bit limey and you'll have to wash your eye out with lots of water. Anyway, so if you come in a little bit, you can see I've started to mix it. So I'm just incorporating the sand into it, okay? And it's becoming like a lovely, just beautiful, right?
It actually looks nice as well.
It's still quite hot, but it's not hot enough that it'll burn me.
Yeah.
But if you see like how sticky it goes, see it staying on the trowel?
Yep.
Big lump on the trowel there, it just sticks. And that's what you want. You want that stickiness, so when you put it on the wall, slightly damp wall, you render it on and it sticks to it for good. It ain't going to peel off. A lot of the old houses used to see, my age group would probably remember this, is when they used to lave and plaster the ceilings back in the day, they'd lime coat them with lime and horsehair, and then they'd put a lime finish over like this over the top. But every now and then they'd collapse, they'd come down, so you'd have a big ring and a piece would drop off the ceiling. The reason that happened, it was not the lime was the problem, it was the laths. And the laths are wood, so they naturally swell, shrink, you know, up and down with climate, dampness, warmth, and eventually they let go of the plaster. But the plaster is always intact. But that's that. So if you're thinking about that, this ain't going to happen if you put it onto a rendered wall. Yeah, it will stay there. Okay. Anyway, so down here we come to this now. Now this mix, I'm going to mix it up a little bit more. And then I'm going to put it in a bucket. There's still a bit of steam coming off it, but I'm going to put it into a bucket when it's a bit more cooler, cover it over, and then I can use that tomorrow, next week, 3 weeks time, a month, a year, whatever. And I'll show you what I've done one here. Okay. And Tracy will back me up on this one. This bucket here I brought over from England. Okay, just remember how to open them.
On the side, I think the clips. Look.
Oh, yeah. All right. And I'm positive and I'm confident this will be good.
I actually think this is a bit older than 4 years,
well,
personally.
It's about 4 years old, right? So look, if you look in there, see the water trace? I've covered it over water, but the lime underneath is a putty.
Oh wow.
Okay, so this is a putty, right? So that's made in the same way that is, but without the sand. That is just pure lime. So it's now a putty, all right? And what I would do is I'd mix that all up so it softens it up, and then I can mix the sand into it. But this is really matured. This is what the Romans and that would have done in their day. They would have made a load of this, put it in a pit of water, let the water over the top of it and just left it for a few, like half a year, whatever.
Clever
but
though, isn't it?
People were coming back years later and they were finding pits like that had been there for many years and the lime was still good. The other thing is I've done an experiment once, and I think it was my son I showed. I can't remember now. It was someone was with me, and we scraped the lime out of a very old building that we was repairing in England, and we scraped all the lime out, put it in a bucket in the water, mixed it, and it went again. It was ready to be laying bricks again. It was nearly that good. It wouldn't have been as good as a fresh one, but it was probably in that building for 300 years, 200 or 300 years. 250 to 300, so 1700s, yeah, so it would have been that time. But anyway, so this is what you call your lime putty, and that's no sand in it, just the lime. And this is now a cold mix. This is a hot mix that I can use right now, or I can let it go cold, right, and use it whenever. And that's the beauty of lime.
Yeah.
If that was cement,
that would go off so quick.
In 2 hours time that'd be rock solid.
Yeah.
Rubbish, landfill.
So it takes time, doesn't it, for the preparation, but it's there.
I'm actually stoked that that's still alive.
Fantastic.
I knew it would be anyway, because I've done it in the past. So it's a lime that's it's a lime product. It's beautiful environment. It's good for the buildings. Everything breathes. This is why I'll go into it later about why we have single glazing and a few other things I'll go into in time that I've learned over the past. And I just want to explain where I got that lime from, because I don't know the French wording for that type of lime at the moment. So I bought this, and I knew that this was a what we call a quick lime, and that comes from the garden centres And that's the other good thing about it. They use this to feed the plants.
Yeah.
They line the land, and this is what they use.
That's what the farmers use, don't they? Yeah.
Same in England, but we haven't got so much acid over there as they got here. So acidy ground. Anyway.
So does that mean in the near future I'm going to have to book a lesson in with you, because you're going to want to show me how to do this, but I'm going to have a lot of practice,
well,
I think.
I'll show you how to use the trowel and how we push in and lay off. I mean, I'm no expert at that, right, and I don't pretend to be, but I can do it. I'm confident to do it.
Yeah.
Have a go. I wouldn't do it as fast as a plasterer would do it, but I could do it.
It's not about that though, is it? It's doing a good job.
As good as a plasterer could, but I'd spend a long time because I'm a carpenter enjoying it. I do a different trade.
Yeah.
But this is something we messed about with for 15 or 20 years in England, and you get to learn it from experience.
Well, that's something different.
So
I'll
try and help you.
Yes.
To show you something.
Lovely.
But anyway, guys, I hope you're enjoying that.
Thank you very much.
The next one will be me putting the application on.
Yep. Doing the finishing plaster.
Hi folks. Right. So plastering this wall now, or these columns. I've already done this side, so I just want to show you. This was the first 2 coats that went on, and this is the type of finish you get. It's a bit swirly, a bit rough. Yeah. All I do is I go over it with a float, rub it down so it's flush. And if you remember, I think I've had a video of this, I'm sure, but anyway, if I haven't, there's this was all to do with horsehair and lime as a which we call a quick lime finish on there. Okay, so I'll just show you the finish coat. So that coat there over there, what you first saw, would have been a 5 or a 6 to 1 ratio with horsehair. This one is a 2 to 1 ratio with no horsehair. Okay, and that's the lovely smooth finish you get. I don't know if you can see that. Be a nice finish on that. Yeah, the only thing we've got to do now is, because it needs a few days to dry up, is to clean all the edges of the stone with a little wire brush, and then they'll just be all tidied up and that'll look nice. And then Tracy can choose to either leave it as it is, because it's a nice matching colour. It will actually go lighter than that. Or we can do a lime wash and put a pigment into the lime wash to bring it into a tone of a colour, a creamy colour or whatever. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you down in a minute. I'll put you onto a stand and I'm going to show you how I apply this over the back of my shoulder, if you like. How this goes on in a couple of weeks, and you'll see how we did that. So this lime, you can still see it's perfect. If I keep this covered, this is lime plaster, right? It's very sticky. You see it sticks to the trowel. Okay, it's brilliant. It's the best stuff going, I believe, anyway. But if I left that covered with that plastic, that would stay in that condition for months. You know, it would. And also, if it went a little bit skinny and hard, had a skin on it, hard, you just put a bit of water in it, knock it up, and it's ready to go again. It's the old stuff the Romans used, and you know, it was tried and tested for thousands of years. Anyway, the other thing is, I'll show you on this here. Before I put you on the thing, I use some water. Forget that. Don't hydrogen peroxide cleaner. That was a cleaner we used for something, one of my jobs I was doing. But anyway, this is just clear water in here, and that will be sprayed on the wall first to give me a key on the wall, because this lime has been on the wall for about 6-7 months now. So really, ideally, in an ideal situation, you'd have it so it just goes off and then you put your next coat on and your next coat on. But we couldn't well like that, because we're trying to do lots of other things in this property, and it's just not one job we're doing. So what I'm going to do is spray that out, let the water soak in, and then spray it out again, and till it won't take no more water in, and then I'll start to apply the mix for you. All right. Okay then, so I'm going to put a bit on the wall now so you get to see how it goes on. This stuff is the lime we're talking about. It's very sticky, you know, it can hold on to the hawks well. It's a brilliant product. Anyway, all I do is say I'm going to start in the corner, push it into the wall, just doing now, pushing it on, it's already smoothed itself out quite nicely. But I don't want to play with it too much. I want to make sure that I don't bring up too much fat in it. I'm going to get some more off the table, onto the hawk. Right. Just and what I like to do as well is get it worked onto the hawk first, so it's mixed in properly. Okay. Take a bit off. Ooh. Get that a little bit more worked, so it's not quite there. 1 second. Just put a little bit of that on there. Where's my little bucket? So, just took a little bit off that hawk. Okay. So flatten it out. When it's stuck to the hawk, you can take good scoops off it if you do it right. I mean, I'm not professional at this, so this is just how I do it. And it's really as easy as that to that stage. It's nice and sticky. If that was normal plaster now, I'd be struggling with that because it'd be falling off and going all silly on me. So I'll get a bit more. That's it. So just work it back onto the hawk. By the way, for those who don't know, this is a trowel and that's a hawk. Okay, so take a bit off. That actual wall is quite dry. I'll put three coats of water on there. Waste up whatnot. A bit more on the hawk again. Sorry, I'm just stepping over some bits here. Not the ideal situation. Okay, we're going to tidy into the stud work now. Okay, so going to be taking off another part of my trowel this time. I'm taking it that way on my trowel. Okay. Hope you can see that. Oh, just a bit off my trowel there. I can hawk on it. Now when I'm working around a stone, basically I'll just push a bit on, flatten it. I'm not too worried if I go over a stone a little bit. Okay. Try to rush it a little bit just to show you so you can see it on camera. Okay, so I'm sort of dressing it in a little bit around the stone, but when I come with the finishing tools, I'll finish this all off nice and smooth, it'll come out beautiful. I'll get this last bit on for you. Here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll carry on, I'll finish this all off, and then I'll show you how to get some smoothing techniques on that. And then obviously I'm going to give this another spray of water because it's a little bit dry, and that's testament to the lime. What happens is when I spray water onto that lime, this lime here, the dry stuff, it's so breathable that it dispels the moisture through the wall and out the pointing we done out the front. So when I spray it, it's sucking up the moisture, and then over time it's pushing it through the wall and out. It goes into the atmosphere. So how that works is, if you're in the room and you're breathing a lot and you're making a lot of like boiling kettles or something like that, you know, the water would stick to the wall, and the wall would draw it through, even if there's paint on there, as long as it's a lime paint, and it will take it away to an outside wall. Now this wall here, this is an outside wall as well, but there's a demolished or a derelict part of the building out there, and then at some stage this will become an internal wall where we build the outside out there, but that's another project years to come. Anyway, that gives you an idea of what this is. So I've sprayed that 3 times now. I'm going to give it another spray before I carry on with this, just wet this edge and then carry on and put this on, and then I'll show you when it's done. Okay, so I've just made up some more plaster, finishing plaster. This is a hot line plaster, and I've come out here. Tracy's pointing away. She's just on the little scaffold now, moving along.
It's the right height for me as well.
Yeah.
I did all this yesterday.
No, you're going to have to shout up, Trace.
Right. I did all this yesterday, so I'm just going to finish this off.
Yeah.
Up to here. And I've done this bit as well over here.
Yeah, let's just point over there. So she's done this bit this morning. And this bit here, we got to move the scaffold so I can rake it out, because that's cement. Yeah. Coming down here and down here. Yeah.
And then I'll just keep working my way down. That's not finished yet. I've got to rub that and bash it with the thing, but it's looking nice now, isn't it?
It's looking nice. It's slowly creeping up, isn't it? Creeping down there. Later on today, so I'm going to be finishing a bit of plastering upstairs, which you've been watching earlier, and then I'm going to come out here and I'm just going to connect up to there, a new piece of guttering coming down with a turn on it, because eventually we're going to have the guttering dropping into this gutter here and away, instead of having a pipe down the middle of the wall. So Trace, is it hot enough for you?
Yes, I quite like the sun.
Yeah. I don't, because I go like a lobster. I'll just get burnt and pink.
It's because you don't wear your sun lotion.
I know, but I don't try and stay in the sun.
I wear my lotion, and that's why I don't burn, touch wood.
Anyway,
I'll probably end up burning today.
I'm going to go out and get back up on that plaster and finish it off, and I'll speak to you in a bit, yeah?
Ciao, ciao.
Okay, so we've got it all on now, the plaster. I've just finished this bottom half, but I can't get you in the whole, you know, the film in the whole lot, so I'm going to put you in this top half, if you like, so you can see what I do. So all I do, I've got my trowel, hang on, where is it? Oh, it's on a step. I've got my trowel and a brush and some water. I'll just clean my trowel off. So it's cleanish, okay? Then I just pull this surface over with as little water on as possible. Okay. Basically, I'm just smoothing all the high spots down, and nice and smooth. Oh, there we go, nice and smooth now. A little bit rough here, but I'll show you a trick how to get out of that. I'll take my gloves off. I have a bucket with sponge in it of water. I wring it out so it's just slightly damp. And then I'll start to do circles. And this is just called a sponge finish or a rubbed finish. Okay, so You'll see it, it's very difficult with that camera, but I'm sure you can see it all smoothing itself out nice and flat. Anyway, I'll keep going on and on. Okay, and then turn the sponge around as it gets clogged up with some of what we call the fat of the mix, if you like. You know, it's coming out of the line and the water. Okay, now just clean the sponge off. I go above that. Okay, it's a little bit wetter up there, so I might not do that bit yet because it's not quite there. What happens is before you start this process, you just want to push it with your finger, and if it's tight and hard, it's ready to start. Up there it's a little bit soft, so I'm not going to do that bit. I'm just going to go up to here. Sorry for the sweating, it's a very hot day today, especially when you're moving about quick and that. So we're pretty much there on this here. And I'm happy with that. I've just got to do these little round here and around this side off camera, but basically that's the finish we're looking for. Then what will happen is when that's all properly dry, say maybe a good 24, maybe 30 hours or so, I'll come back and I'll, with a light brush, and I'll brush it all over to get any little bits that are sticking up or anything, and just smooth it right down. Okay. Then again, I'll do it again probably another week later. I'll just give it another brush down, and that's it. It's finished. So it's a very simple process, and all this round here, you know, around these edges, don't worry about all that, because that I clean that up with a little wire brush, just going on there, and it all drops off and comes up nice. Clean up the stonework on here, you know, same on here. Clean all this stonework up. And then that will look nice against that, and this is the finish. And if you look in there, you can see little bits of white, black, stony. It looks like it's come from a castle. Well, this is exactly how they would do it in the castles in the old days anyway. This is how they put it on, and then they rubbed it off. Whether they had a sponge or not, I doubt that, but they had something like it, and they would rub it off. So anyway, let me go and finish all that bit off there, and that's pretty much done then, and this is all finished. Ready for another job. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that.